morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Friday, December 5th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Friday, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame. You'll notice, again, still in the multi-day range, very compressed. Just 26% of ADR heading into the RTH Open, not anticipating a whole lot of range. You can see on a day-to-day basis here, since we came out of the holiday week last week, we've been in this low volatility ADR drop zone, and we continue to see low volatility right now. This is also the Friday ahead of next week's Fed week. Next Wednesday, we get our next FOMC statement, rate decision, and the press conference that follows. We're also going to see likely increased volatility Wednesday through Friday of next week that could bleed out into the upcoming weeks as well a little bit. But again, we have the tail end of December coming in where we could get a bit more quiet before Q1 ramps up additional volatility. So right now, in the range, this market could easily rotate back down a little bit, not anticipating a new low, and then bouncing back up and just keeping things mostly status quo for right now as we head into next week's range and next week's Fed meeting. Now, looking at the NQ here, similar price action, again, previous high, back into the range, perhaps not a new low, bounce it back up and keep things pretty quiet heading into next week's Fed. Again, with this market right now, we have seen a decent bounce from the lows, a really solid bounce, right? Now that we've come into these highs, do we start to see a little bit of a loss of altitude? That's going to be something we keep an eye on. There could definitely see another round of weakness up ahead, especially after such a strong bounce. Sometimes the strongest bounces are within a bear market move, and the next rotation could be a jolting move back down. So we got to keep that in mind as well. All right, looking at crude oil, perfectly flat right now. Doji, 26% of ADR, 36 whole pennies of range. I almost am thinking about this one doesn't really have a place in the pre-market video at the moment because there's not a whole lot going on, and there hasn't been a whole lot going on. So this one, again, the next time it moves, it's going to be an opportunity to watch for the fake out and then the resolution in the opposite direction. So I keep thinking there might be one last drop and, again, a fake back up, and ultimately we may be headed back towards 64s. Especially as we enter the bullish window, seasonal window. But right now, there's no kind of game at all in crude oil. Here's a look at gold. Now, gold is interesting. If gold is picking back up its normal rhythm, then this could become a very bullish swing move right now. A very bullish swing move, even just 100 points to the upside. But it could be much more than that. It could be somewhere along the lines of 200 or maybe even more points of range on this swing move. So, again, keep an eye on that pivot high. We've built a small range around it. We have a rising bullish Pima trigger zone. This has been a very, very bullish commodity anyway. And after some compression here, we could certainly see another move to the upside. So again, keep an eye on this day. Does it turn into a breakaway rally type of day? If so, or maybe not just today, but maybe into next week, this could be quite bullish for gold moving forward. Failure to hold 4,200 though, and you're rotating back down 150 points. All right, let's look at YM. Inside day, 19% of ADR. Yesterday, heading into the RTH Open, this thing was trading under 13% of ADR. We're under 20% this time around. We finished less than 65% of our ADR yesterday. That would mean if we're going to finish 65% or less, then that would mean 327 points or less, basically, as of right now. But again, this is a moving bar today developing. So really, we're looking at about right here, which is about 350 or 375 points, almost 400. So somewhere in the 300 to 400 point zone could be today's final amount. But again, that's the deal here. We're not trying to overestimate how much range we could see today. Could be very, very quiet, especially after the opening couple of hours. All right, looking at Bitcoin. This is where it's about to get interesting for Bitcoin. If you're bullish, this is where the rally starts. Below 2-day lows. Ideally, this thing would drop maybe a little bit lower. And then a rejection and a recovery of 2-day lows. If that happens, there's the potential here to go outside day up and perhaps even make a really strong move for 100K over the course of the next week. Are we going to return to the Fed level above at 112.275? So when we talked about this concept in the trading room, it was a 20,000 point potential. But I'm still of the mindset that we're trending downward. So this needs to be a very good trap in reverse rejection in order to get this thing looking bullish. Right now, within this downtrend here, this is a great spot to fail. If this thing starts to take out 90K here, you're opening up a 20,000 point drop. And so that's where 75K could be the very real next target on this next rotation. So this is the point of emphasis right now for this market. Again, testing 91K. Maybe we get as low as 90. If we reject it and start to rally, this could be huge. A failure here, and we're rotating back down in a hard way. Very similar to what we've seen each of the last 3 rotations. All right, looking at ETH, this one is in the same boat. Here we are, right there. Is this a moment where this thing can rally and recover back toward the Fed level above at 40.10? Or is this another trap and reverse to the downside like we've seen multiple times? This was a little hiccup here for a pump fake. Now here we are. Let's get this thing rotating back down if it fails. If not, again, that failed new low rejection could open things up a bit. 36.50 and 40.10 would be the upside targets. But right now, the way this thing has behaved and the price action has played out within this downtrending move, it would not be surprising to see this become a bull trap and we see the liquidation lead to another round of lows up ahead. So keeping an eye on this area very, very closely for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the weekend. Have fun, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.